Welcome to Roots and Roasts, where expert plant care meets proven horticultural techniques. Today, we're diving deep into how to care for one of the most visually striking yet low-maintenance indoor plants, the Peperomia Caperata Rosso. If you just picked one up from a local nursery, received it as a gift, or spotted its shimmering leaves online and decided to bring one into your space, you made a smart choice. This plant is compact, sculptural, and incredibly rewarding when cared for properly. But don't let its manageable size fool you. Beneath the surface, it has very specific needs that must be met to truly thrive indoors. This episode is for every plant lover, whether you're a beginner just starting your indoor jungle or a seasoned collector looking to master care techniques. We'll cover everything from light and water to the exact soil mix, container types, how to prevent root rot, when to repot, and what signs to look for if your Rosso starts to struggle. And we're not guessing. This is research-backed horticulture straight from tested greenhouse methods, indoor growing trials, and real-life observation from professional plant techs who manage environments just like yours. Let's start with where this beauty comes from. The Peperomia Caperata Rosso is native to the lower canopy of the Brazilian rainforest, specifically the humid, shaded forest floors near the Atlantic coast. Here, it doesn't grow in full sunlight or saturated soils. Instead, it thrives tucked into organic debris on mossy rocks or tree crevices, where airflow is high, light is filtered, and moisture is consistent but never stagnant. Rosso is a terrestrial epiphyte, meaning it grows both in soil and on surfaces rich with decomposed matter, like bark, leaf litter, and soft moss. This adaptation makes it perfectly suited for modern indoor life. Its small root system doesn't need a lot of room, but it absolutely needs oxygen. And that means well-draining soil and breathable pots. Its deep green, rippled leaves with wine-colored undersides aren't just for looks. They're part of how the plant captures light in dim environments and stores water in its semi-succulent tissues. These thick stems and fleshy leaf bases act like natural reservoirs, meaning you should water sparingly and only when needed. Light is life for foliage plants, and with Peperomia Rosso, the type of light matters just as much as the amount. Provide bright, indirect light. Think of what you'd get near an east-facing window where morning sun filters in softly. That's ideal. If you have only a south-facing window, pull it back a few feet or use a sheer curtain to diffuse the intensity. Rosso can adapt to lower light, but the cost is visual, slower growth, muted red undersides, and less structural bounce. In dim rooms, its stems will stretch, the compact rosette will unravel, and you may notice leaves flattening outward, reaching desperately for more photons. And here's a key insight. Excess direct light will damage Rosso just as much as too little. You'll see bleaching, scorched tips, or papery patches. This plant evolved in dappled rainforest light, never in full sun. If you're unsure, check the shadow test. Place your hand above the plant. A soft, blurred shadow means good indirect light. A sharp-edged shadow means the light is too harsh. Lighting isn't just about placement. It's about intention. Understanding how light behaves in your home is the first step to honoring how Rosso evolved to live. Let's keep that momentum going as we talk watering next. This is where most Rosso owners unintentionally go wrong. With too much love poured straight from the watering can. The golden rule? Water only when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil are completely dry. That usually means every 10 to 14 days for a Rosso in a 6 to 8 inch container under typical indoor conditions. But container size matters. In larger pots, moisture lingers deeper, so push your finger down 3 to 4 inches before deciding. If it's even slightly damp down there, wait. Peperomia roots are shallow and oxygen-hungry. Waterlogged soil is a slow suffocation. Use filtered or dechlorinated water if you can. It protects the delicate roots from chlorine and salt buildup. And in winter, less is more. Shorter days and cooler temps slow the plant's metabolic needs. Here's the thing. Underwatering is reversible, but overwatering leads to root rot, which is far harder to fix. When in doubt, always wait. Real care means restraint. Rosso is storing moisture in every fleshy leaf and stem. When you respect that, you protect it. Coming up next, let's talk about the soil it depends on. Rosso's roots are shallow, compact, and oxygen-loving, which means your container choice isn't just about aesthetics. It's about survival. Choose a pot with drainage holes. Always. No exceptions. Without drainage, excess water pools at the base, leading to root rot even if the topsoil feels dry. Terracotta pots are ideal. They're breathable, porous, and help wick away moisture from the root zone. They create a gentle drying cycle that Rosso thrives on, especially in cooler or low-light homes. Avoid sealed pots or cache pots unless you're placing a nursery pot inside. And even then, remove it when watering so the excess can drain freely. You don't need a deep pot. In fact, shallower containers work better. Rosso's root system grows horizontally, not downward. A wide, breathable pot mimics its natural habit and prevents water from settling at the bottom. Rosso doesn't need fancy, it needs function. With the right pot, you prevent 90% of root issues before they start. Let's build on that now with the ideal soil mix in Scene 6. Peperomia Rosso prefers a cozy home, and in fact, it thrives when slightly root-bound. Don't rush to repot this plant. Unless you see clear signs, like roots growing through the drainage holes, the plant becoming top-heavy, or water draining too quickly, it's best to leave it undisturbed. Repotting too often can shock the root system and slow its growth cycle. Plan to repot every 2 to 3 years, and only go up one pot size. Anything larger risks holding too much moisture, which Rosso's shallow roots don't tolerate well. When you do repot, always refresh the soil, even if the root system still fits the old pot. This resets the microbial balance and ensures the plant has access to fresh nutrients and improved texture. In between repots, you could do a topsoil refresh once a year, gently removing the top 1 to 2 inches of old mix and replacing it with fresh, well-draining soil. This is especially helpful if you're in a hard water area or use fertilizer regularly. The foundation of a healthy Peperomia Rosso is in the soil, and this species demands more than just a basic potting mix. You'll want a light, aerated, and fast-draining blend, one that mimics the leaf-littered, moisture-balanced floor of the Brazilian rainforest. Standard potting soil is too dense and holds water too long, which invites rot. Instead, build your own mix using 2 parts cocoa coir or peat moss for moisture retention with breathability, 1 part perlite for increased drainage and root aeration, 1 part orchid bark to introduce texture and long-term air pockets. This combination allows roots to absorb what they need and discard what they don't, keeping fungal infections and anaerobic soil conditions at bay. This combination allows roots to absorb what they need and discard what they don't, keeping fungal infections and anaerobic soil conditions at bay. As for feeding, Peperomia Rosso isn't a heavy feeder, but it does appreciate monthly nutrition during its active growing season. Use a balanced October 10th tin liquid fertilizer diluted to half strength, once a month from early spring through late summer. Skip feeding altogether during fall and winter when the plant's growth slows and nutrient uptake is minimal. Feeding during dormancy often causes salt buildup and leaf stress. Rosso rewards patience. Don't disturb it without reason. A calm repotting rhythm and smart sizing keep its roots strong and its structure compact. In Scene 7, we'll break down exactly what soil mix gives Rosso the breathability it needs. Rosso rewards patience. Don't disturb it without reason. A calm repotting rhythm and smart sizing keep its roots strong and its structure compact. In Scene 7, we'll break down exactly what soil mix gives Rosso the breathability it needs. The 3 most common threats? Fungus gnats, mealybugs, and spider mites. Fungus gnats thrive in overly moist soil. They're not just annoying, their larvae can damage tender roots. Mealybugs appear as soft white clumps in stem joints and leaf undersides, feeding on sap and weakening the plant. Spider mites are tiny but deadly. Look for faint webbing or stippled leaves, especially in dry homes with low humidity. The first line of defense is environmental control. Let the soil dry properly between waterings. Increase air circulation around the plant. Wipe leaves monthly to remove dust and detect early infestations. For treatment or prevention, a light neem oil spray every 4 to 6 weeks can interrupt most pest life cycles. You can also use insecticidal soap. Just make sure to apply it in the early morning or evening to prevent leaf burn under light. Most importantly, inspect regularly. Early detection means simple solutions, and a pest-free Rosso is a thriving Rosso. A clean, well-ventilated Rosso rarely invites pests. With consistency, you can keep problems from ever gaining a foothold. Now, let's talk about where this plant grows best and how to set the perfect indoor climate. Peperomia Rosso doesn't demand a greenhouse to thrive, but it does appreciate consistency. Maintain a temperature range between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. These tropical natives are sensitive to cold, so avoid placing them near drafty windows, AC vents, or exterior doors during winter. A sudden temperature drop below 55 degrees Fahrenheit can cause leaf drop and root stress. Create a stable, gentle environment, and Rosso will reward you over time. Not with speed, but with quiet resilience. In our final scene, we'll share a pro tip from roots and roast that ties everything together. Here's your pro tip. One of the most overlooked but powerful things you can do for a Peperomia Rosso: refresh the top half-inch of soil every spring. Why? Over time, salts from fertilizer and minerals from tap water build up near the surface. This can harden the soil, compact the structure, and stunt new leaf growth. A quick top-off with fresh, airy mix renews oxygen exchange, supports healthy microbe activity, and improves drainage right where it matters most, at the crown and upper root zone. Next, prune faded flower spikes as soon as they finish. While they're charming, Rosso's blooms are energy-intensive and short-lived. By removing them, you redirect the plant's strength into its true feature, those radiant, textured leaves. Snip close to the base with sterilized shears to prevent stress or shock. Your Rosso doesn't need perfection, just consistency. With the right soil, light, and small seasonal habits, it'll thrive quietly in any home. Got questions? Drop them in the comments. Want expert advice with zero fluff? Subscribe. And for daily tips and plant drops, follow Roots and Roasts on TikTok. I'm out, but your Rosso's just getting started.